Welcome to the Coffee and Questions podcast. I am your host, Mikel, and my mission with this podcast is simple: to help realtors and loan officers across the world tap into the value Instagram can have for them and their business. To me, organic business that comes to us is the name of the game. On this show, you're going to hear from myself, other experts across social media, and also others that are just like you, selling real estate and doing loans and doing it at a high level on social media.
Yeah, well, Michelle, what I love so much about this book is before we can even go, oh yeah, I can steal stuff from other people, I can knock off what other people are doing. It takes a mindset shift to move away from, in order to make me feel validated, in order to make me feel accepted, in order to make me feel good, I have to be original. Right? That's the world we all live in. We want to be accepted. And so, of course, we don't want to accept another knockoff. We want to accept someone who's original. Well, the reality is our world has been around for too many years for us to truly have original ideas anymore. So most ideas are derived at some point from another, but what makes it truly unique is that you and I are different. All right. So you and I, and we've done this already. We've already shared guests on our podcasts. Your episode with Phil was very different than my episode with Phil. Why? Because you and I are uniquely different. And so this book, it just gives us permission to kind of move ego aside and let us realize that, like, I don't need to bang my head on a wall to come up with something that's just this crazy idea that no one's ever thought of. I just need to show up as Kyle Draper. And when Kyle Draper does it, it's going to have a uniqueness that no one else has, because no one else is me and everyone else is not you. And so that's the ultimate power of this book, Still Like an Artist. And what I really love, can I tell this a quick story? Absolutely. Really fast?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So a few weeks ago, Harvard Business Review, they write incredible content, and they wrote an article about what if your next great idea came from outside of your industry. And the picture was a guy dressed in an astronaut suit looking inside the hood of a car. Right. And so in this article, it talks about, it tells this fascinating story. I've actually used it every time I've spoke since I've read it, because it's just so powerful. So again, right, I practice what I preach. I still like an artist. I ripped it off from Harvard Business Review. And in that article, they talk about Henry Ford. Right. Henry Ford is known for making the first car, the Model T. But what most people don't also know that he's known for is he invented the assembly line. The thing that has made America what it is, right? That we were able to build our country on the backbone of being the automobile manufacturer of the universe. And so most people don't even realize that. But what even fewer people realize, I didn't even know this until I read the article. And now I teach it. And so everybody's like, wow, Kyle knows all this stuff. I just learned this 3 weeks ago, and now I teach it. Michelle, he got the idea for the assembly line while touring a slaughterhouse. Oh. So he's walking through. I mean, think about the way a slaughterhouse must smell. Mm-hmm. Think about the things that he's looking at, the dismembered pig parts, and think about, my brain would have been going, get me the freak out of here. Why? How did we get here? Get me out of here. This is disgusting. But Henry Ford, being who he was, his first thought was, I think we could take this concept and apply it to the way we make our cars. And so the reason I wanted to tell the story is, guys, most of you listening to this, you're a real estate agent, you're a lender. Who are most of the voices you listen to? They're the big names of our industry that you and I could talk about, right? We could rattle off a ton of big names. And again, we love those big names. They're amazing people. But guys, what are most of their ideas based in? They're based in mortgage. They're based in real estate. And so what if, to truly open your mind up to the new level of creativity, what if you did look totally outside of what you do for a living to see how they do video, to see how they're doing something? And I think it could be a game changer. And so that is what I love so much about Still Like an Artist.
Well, what I love so much about every conversation I have with you is that my brain just goes wild with all of these different ideas of things that you and I could do, things that I want to post content about, et cetera, right? But this makes me go back to when I very first decided to create what I now know as the Instagram Power Method, or even Berman Media PD for that matter, which is, you know, the name of my company as a whole. But when I first hired a business coach, many people don't even know this. My very first business coach lived in Manchester in the UK, was known for being a fitness entrepreneur. So all of his courses, everything he had built was in the fitness industry, had nothing to do with Instagram, nothing to do with social media, nothing to do with anything that I was trying to ultimately do. And at the time, I just decided to hire him because he was the first person that really showed me that I could do it, right? He was the first person to show and express interest in, Michelle, I think you can do this. And he didn't care that it was social media because he knew he was really good at what he did. And he knew that it could transcend industries, right? And so what did I do? I bought a ticket, I got on a plane, and I flew across the country, or in this case, across the world, to go sit in a coffee shop with this guy for 7 days and mind map out what is now the Instagram Power Method. But it came from a guy who literally used to work in a gym full-time as a coach, who got hurt in a motorcycle accident and couldn't be physically present coaching anymore, and decided, how can I turn this into a company where I don't have to be physically present to coach and still make money to support my family? So it's funny, right? But at the same time, it's like it's transcending to, it's not about the industry, it's about the thought pattern and the mindset behind, how can I take something and make it work for me? And I think that there's something super beautiful in taking a step out of your own industry and kind of going to that 30,000 foot view and looking at things in a bigger, kind of a bigger perception, right? Or just like kind of widening the lens, maybe, is a good way of saying that. But yeah, I mean, I have that picture saved in my phone, and if I zoom in on it, the word online course is like the smallest little part in the bottom right corner of what this huge piece of paper was that we, you know, wrote on with markers all over the place. So I just think it goes back to what you were saying, is that it's not about looking inward to our specific industry, because I think you and I both know, if we want to learn about mortgages, we're going to call Phil Treadwell, right? If we want to learn about real estate, maybe we call Chauncey, maybe we call any of these people that we know that happen to be really great real estate agents or have done great things in the real estate space. But I personally think some of the best conversations you and I have ever had have probably been with people that have nothing to do with either one of those.
Yeah, and what I love about your story is, I don't know how we got here, but I feel like there's just so many people that they look at this very black and white. Either I align with you or I don't. Right? So like the moment somebody finds out, like, oh wow, you believe different politically than I do, boom, like that relationship is severed. Or you don't believe spiritually the way I believe, boom, like we sever that relationship and go separate ways. When I was always taught growing up, eat the fish and spit out the bones. Like, take what you can or what you want from every single person you've ever come in contact with, and then leave out the rest. You know, we don't have to live in this cancel culture society that's like, oh, well, now that person did one thing, and so let's just write them off. Right? They're the worst at everything because they did one thing wrong. And so I just love having the perspective through this book and through other sources as well, of like, I don't have to totally be aligned with you. We can even disagree on some core things, but that doesn't mean that creatively I can't watch some of the things that you do and go, man, that's really good. What if I turn that 8 degrees this way and now it's my thing? And there's just so much opportunity for that I think a lot of realtors and lenders are very closed off to, because they're so used to learning a specific way because of what they do for a living.
If you enjoyed this episode, please go follow my guests on social media. And if you enjoyed this podcast, please consider leaving us a review wherever you consume this content.